we're back for day 2 of week 7 of Star League Racing. So tonight is going to be pretty much elimination catch-up day. Elimination bracket is a little bit behind as far as reaching finals goes. So we're going to be spending all the day doing the rest of the elimination brackets, eventually leading up to finals. So the order of races today, which are a bit confusing as far as the actual organization goes. I'll try and explain it later, but for now I'll just tell you who's racing. We're starting off with Ruddigger versus MikeIsMyIke, followed by Telepri versus ShinGraywords. Then we're going to have the winner of Telepri versus ShinGraywords face off of Johnny. And then the winner of Rud versus Mike and the winner of whoever that race is versus Johnny will go off in the finals. So it's a bit confusing, but as we go along, you'll see the racers fill in on the spots, and we'll be able to sort of update it as we go along here a bit better. I'm joined by Shin.
How's it going, y'all? This is ShinGraywords. I'm your resident Texan providing color commentary.
Yeah, he's going to be racing the second round, which means we might have solo commentaries if I can't get someone else in here for that. So hopefully everything goes smoothly. So I'm going to quickly do the opening spiel. This is Junior, which means we're going to be doing any percent races. Each racer has 15 minutes to either beat Olmec or get as far as they possibly can. So whoever gets further or beats Olmec first is rewarded a point, and since it's the 2 out of 3 format, whoever gets 2 wins first takes the victory. Any percent means that you can use any items in the game. You can take a jetpack, you can shoot guns, you can do anything you want to get as far as, farther first. And as far as the rules go, that's pretty much about it. I'm going to tell Rud to get to the main door so that we can get started here, and then we'll be all good. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, heck yes. I've been following Mike and Rud's races the entire time, and this is going to be one heck of an epic battle.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's going to be really fun seeing Rud get destroyed, but we'll see what happens. I mean, unbiased commentary. Yeah, ooh.
Well, at least we have 2 epic Olmec chokers facing each other,
yes.
So this should be very good.
We're going to, I'm really excited to see what happens for the elimination finals. I'm curious as to whether or not we'll see Johnny come back from the grave.
Yeah, we could indeed see a rematch for the very final finals if Johnny does as well as he has in the past.
Yeah, I'd like to see a championship rematch. And, alright, so Rud is at the main door, which means that we're going to get started as soon as we possibly can here. We're going to get started in about 40 seconds.
That's a nice round number.
Yes, I give them the 30-second countdown, and I add 10, because, delay is about 10 seconds on average, so we'll get started. Everyone get hype and chat for Rud getting destroyed by Mike and eventually get hype for finals. We're still going to be, okay, I should explain that, we're still going to be doing the no going offline format. Unfortunately, because we're doing dynamic scheduling, that means I can't prepare some of the captures. So I'll be doing some of the capture stuff on stream, which means you'll see a few black boxes when we're starting up things like the finals. But hopefully you'll be able to bear with it. It's not a huge deal. You'll see a little joke Rud has made in the background of this whole graphic thing. But we're going to get started here. Rud, far behind Mike on my end. Is that just me?
No, actually, he did go in a bit later than the rest.
Okay, just making sure so that our delay isn't too much of an issue. Yeah, Junior at 8%.
May have to pause the... yeah, I'm going to pause the stream for Star League because I keep on wanting to look over there at that instead of the individual pages.
Yeah, that's fine. If you need a countdown notifier, just ask me. So I should state that these are all elimination races, and what that means is that whoever loses in these events will be eliminated from the tournament entirely. So everyone in this bracket has lost one race, and one race alone. Mike is going for a shopkeep robbery. That's interesting.
Wow, yeah, right off the bat.
Pretty gutsy stuff. I like to see shopkeep robberies, though. They tend to make more interesting runs. Like, Fishy's run during the finals was a shopkeep robbery, which ended up leading to him going into the haunted castle, which I totally forgot to highlight, but do that later.
That will happen, yes. And of course, more often than not, though, they do end up in hideous defeat.
Yes. Shopkeepers, A, slow you down a bit, and B, kill you and make you very dead quite a bit. So,
that's the main one.
Yeah, we'll hope for Mike's sake that doesn't happen, but we'll see what happens. So far, so good. The exits haven't been too bad, and he definitely has some ground on Rud at this point, nearly a level ahead.
Definitely, though Rudd seems to be going for a low percent at this time. Well,
Oh,
unless he did know, he may have picked up a damsel earlier, if I remember correctly.
Well, he's gonna take 2 damage, so if he didn't pick up a damsel before, he's gonna want it now. But of course, you can't pick up a damsel when you're dead. Rudd is back to 1-1 now, which means Mike has a massive lead. Of course, if Mike dies to a shopkeeper, then, well, see what happens.
It's definitely early. Rudd grabbing another pug, shoving it into the door.
Good stuff. We see a lot more of that in, well, any percent than we do in low percent, because it's legal any percent, but also
Very
during
surprising
overtimes.
statistic there,
Yeah,
yes.
crazy things. Definitely worth talking about, but I guess what I was most going for is that if we do hit overtime, we tend to see, like, tons of damsels, enough for the Casanova achievement sometimes from these racers, which is a good strategy. I mean, it keeps you alive.
Definitely. I mean, as long as you don't have to go too far out of your way, it's quite a viable strategy.
So Rudd, dealing with a spider den, not too much of a problem for him, but, you know, looks like he's not getting the easiest of seeds. Mike getting himself trapped, but able to use a bomb here to speed stuff up.
He's got 12 to go.
I would use a bomb. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Ooh, that's one of the situations where the shopkeep gets aggroed by a bomb, but doesn't necessarily get stuck by it. It's kind of annoying, actually, but
He pushed through.
yeah, regardless, he's alive and doing pretty well.
Hib counter for Rudd. Has to climb over that TNT.
Yeah, that's right, bib counter. I mean, he could have whipped it, but
That's not a very safe strat.
I think it's a plenty safe strat, and everyone should be using it. Looks like a...
You would.
Oh, look at that. That was a cascade by Mike, and as far as the rules for cascading goes, since these aren't super competitive speed runs, cascading is allowed, but we don't see it very often.
That's true. I mean, we've seen it a couple of times, but perfectly viable.
Alright, so Rudd is making some ground back after his death to a giant spider. He's still 3 levels behind, as Mike is moving on to the ice caves here, but he's certainly pushing.
And it's a 3-1 ret fur.
That
Red
means-
counter for Mike.
That means, yeah, Mike just got rudded while going against Rudd. Interesting.
Maybe a preview of things to come.
Mike nearly catching that compass in midair. We should mention that Mike already had a compass from the shopkeep robbery at the very beginning of his run. I don't know how that yet he survived that. Interesting, but yeah.
If he's lucky, he might get 2 compasses at Olmec.
Once again, seeing cascades. Mike has a perfect cascade. I am very jealous. Rudd having a dark jungle with bees and dead are restless right now. This is nonsensical.
Wonderful RNG for Rudd.
He's looking to kill the queen bee, it seems. Where is he? He has a perfect spot there if he just uses a bomb. No, he's choosing not to. Alright.
Yeah, he may not want to take the time, because it does take a good while to finish her off if you use the whip strats, that is.
Oh, and he's going to fall on Spike.
Oh,
He misses the
no.
vine grab. Rudd is back to 1-1. This means that Mike has a 6 level lead at this point.
The shopkeep robbery is paying off hugely right here for Mike.
Actually, I lied. It's a 10 level lead right now. Pretty notable. Rudd has to hope that Mike dies, which is fairly viable considering that there are shopkeeps aggroed right now, but I don't know. Mike has been playing pretty solid so far.
Handling everything quite well.
Out of the temple. This is where stuff can go wrong, though. The shopkeep exits tend to be just terrible on the temple. Not only do they frequently have vertical approaches, but sometimes you have to come from under somewhat, which is probably the worst situation possible. The only other situation that happens usually is in the mothership, and we all know that's not going to happen during these races. Ooh.
It's like Anubis is getting blasted there.
Anubis is very, very dead, and the shopkeep is as well, jumping into lava. Is Mike... Okay, he's not going to go for the scepter. I was worried for a moment there that Mike had no sanity. Although, you know, if you know how to use a scepter, it is not a bad idea to grab. Like, if you are very safe with it, it is a powerful thing. Insta-kills mummies, so...
Most definitely, and shopkeepers, which he does have to deal with still.
Yeah. I don't know, I wish there was more scepter usage during these races. Everyone is very afraid of the weapon, and for good reason. It's pretty much an instant kill if it hits you. But, you know, as long as you keep track of where the entities are on the level, it's manageable. It's usable, and it's not horrific. Ooh, looks
Rudd
like...
into a dark jungle.
Oh, poor Rudd. That's 2 dark jungles now. Mike actually has 24 bombs awaiting him in that shop as the shopkeeper just jumps into lava saying, hey, take it all. And by 24...
4-3 is probably going to be good for him here.
At 24, I'm at 36. Rudd once again down in the jungle.
Oh, no.
Taking damage to a snail, I believe. How often do you see the prompt slimed on the death message? Ouch. So Mike, onto Olmec at this point. I believe this is his first seed, so...
It is.
Impressive performance by Mike so far. I'm pretty surprised. Really nice shopkeep robbery run.
Yes, yeah, right off the bat, too.
Let's see if he pulls off this win here. We don't see it very often at all during these races that he pulled off, and it looks like he's going to be going for the Olmec kill. Not cascading. Interesting. I mean, you know.
Maybe he thinks it's not fair here.
Well, there's a cascade. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what usually happens to me. Missed one tile.
Of course. Game is cruel.
Now, is the teeter going to work?
Well, he has to clear all the tiles first. There he goes. Alright, so let's see if Mike and his Olmec curse continues. I am worried that this is something that's going to go horribly wrong.
Yes.
Alright, and...
That's a success.
Yep, that's going to be that. Wow, so Mike wins his first seed, just fairly long because of the shopkeep kills that he had to go through, but Mike is going to take the victory right off the bat with a solid shop to rob from the start of the game, and then ends up carrying it all the way to the end, so bravo to Mike for that.
An impressive play.
Rudd's not out, though. Rudd still has a chance to take it back from Mike.
He definitely does.
We're going to ask them to return to the main door and then get started with the next race.
Lots of unavoidable arrow traps and dark levels there for Rudd, unfortunately.
Rudd definitely got the short end of the stick as far as seeds go there. That was tough stuff. Dark jungles, relentless during these races. Almost all the time, at least half the time, dark jungles have actually killed the racers, which is pretty unfortunate, but, you know, it happens. Dark jungles are one of the worst dark levels you can get.
Very unforgiving. Agreed 150%.
I'd say about 8,000, but, you know, once again, Rudd, I guess, has more delay than Mike. Shouldn't be a huge deal. If it does get down to that point where they're both on Olmec at, like, the exact same time, and we worry about delay, we'll tell them to type done in our Steam group chat, which will allow us to know exactly who wins. Ooh, and Rudd's gonna take another arrow trap to start this off. That's tough, man. I hope Rudd's not getting too flustered right now, because I know for a fact that it can be difficult to start off a race like that.
Oh, I'm sure he's cursing up the stream. I'm sorry, I was paused. Muted.
Alright, Mike is going to take a bit of fall damage there. He's actually down to 1 health on this run. He's going to grab some extra bombs, which is a pretty big deal, but we'll see how well he used them.
Going for the Ujidai.
Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. We often see that racers, you know, value their resources maybe more than is necessary. Like, a good example was, I think yesterday, a racer had 7 ropes in the temple, and instead of using the ropes, they chose to use bombs. Also, Rudd, with a teleporter on a skin is crawling level. Rudd is an interesting guy with all this teleporter stuff. Never ceases to amaze me with his guts. Let's see what happens.
Going for the danger.
Let's see what happens.
Telefragging a pug.
If he pulls it off, then, like, seriously, good on Rudd for that, man. That's awesome if he manages it, but we'll see. He is ahead.
Yeah, I would like to see a teleporter victory, or at least near victory, because I don't think we've had anybody come close.
I think we've seen one racer get into the middle of the ice caves.
That seems about right, yes.
Yeah, but I don't think we've ever seen a teleporter in the temple.
Matic strats from Mike. Good on resources, but very low on health. So.
Yeah, we haven't seen much Matic play as of late. Of course, Rudd now being dead after his teleporter run, unfortunately. I would say I'm shocked, but I'm not. Because, not like to offend Rudd, but yeah, you don't grab a teleporter. It never ends well.
9 out of 10 times you're going to end in tears, which...
if you go really slow and check below you every single time, then it's fine. But at that point, you're going slower than you would without a teleporter, so...
Damsel death there for Mike, but he's still going.
I really like watching our juniors use Maddox because, you know, it's really fun because they usually are very effective with it. Like, there was one race where nearly all of the time both of the junior racers had a Matic and they were using it especially effectively, and now Rudd and Mike are like just like, hey, Hectic, you know, why don't we do that? That sounds like fun. Rudd, of course, unfortunately dying to bees. We've been having a lack of bees in the tournament.
I believe
lately.
that was Mike.
Did I say Rudd? I meant Mike. Mike dies to bees, unfortunately, and ends his Matic run. Rudd, however, is still having a jetpack Matic, which is one of the best combinations for these races.
He started his own Matic jetpack run with a Rob of the Shop.
Let's see if he fares better with a Matic than a teleporter. I'm pretty certain that he's gonna do a bit better with less of a threat of, you know, going into a wall. That definitely is painful when it happens. It usually leads to death.
Well, this is always an awkward situation, but...
With the jetpack and, that little crevice he flew into, he was pretty much perfectly safe unless the shopkeep got some ridiculous bounces. Which is totally possible. I mean, anything's possible in Spelunky.
As most of us have learned in the unfortunate circumstance of death, yes.
And Rudd gets some more ropes. 9 ropes at this point. Definitely going to help him out and make his jetpack even better. Add on to the pip counter, Mike choosing not to whip a powder keg. I don't know why. Seems like a viable strategy. Entirely safe. Ooh. Does Rudd go for the black market here? No, and it's gonna end up killing him! He gets hit by the Tiki Trap at the last second on 2- level. I wish I had kept track of that. I didn't expect that at all. And Mike is gonna die on 1-4. So this race is back to 1-1 for both of the guys. I'm gonna inform them that there's 10 minutes left so that they don't get a little bit, you know, worried about as far as the time goes. And I'm gonna inform you that there's 10 minutes left as well, Shin.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I don't think anybody has gotten into the ice caves yet in this seed, have they?
Not in this round. Mike, of course, won on Olmec last round, but yeah, this round has been jungle deaths galore. Of course, it's only been 5 minutes in. Anything can happen. Red with another jetpack shop, and it looks like Red with another robbery. Let's see how it goes. I was definitely right about his idea, too. My idea of Red stealing Mike's strategy. We'll see how it treats him.
Let's hope that one or the other of the players can get into the ice caves so we can't be embarrassed by not remembering what level they died on.
Yes, it's happened before. But usually, yeah, they do reach the ice caves, especially this late in the tournaments. These guys are all really good at what they do, so pretty good stuff.
And Rudd goes down to the shopkeeper at the exit.
So Rudd is now a bit behind, only a level, because, you know, Mike's messing around, but now at this point 2 levels, but yeah, we'll see.
We're basically back where we started.
Yes, back to the beginning of it all. You know, maybe slowing down, maybe a little bit less shop robbery would do these guys a little bit good. Definitely not a bad idea. You know, slow down, they've reached the ice cave so that we don't have to confirm what level you died on. We might be, like, in the circumstance of overtime right now. I don't really know, unfortunately, but I expect one of them to reach the ice caves. They're playing a bit fast, playing a bit unsafe, robbing shops left and right. It isn't treating them well so far.
It's a little bit exciting, a little bit frenetic, a little bit dangerous.
Of course, Mike apparently getting a bomb box at some point during his run. I don't know if he purchased that or got it from a crate, but that's definitely going to help him out as it did right there. He's moving on to the jungle as Rudd is kind of near 1-4. So
Not
it's looking
too
like
far apart.
looking like this might be a 22nd level for Rudd, which means let's get some dark level action. Yeah, exactly. 21 seconds. Not exactly, but
About a stage and a half apart right now, it looks like.
Rudd is blessed with the light. No darkness for him. We're adding to the pip counter right there. Wow, they've gotten a lot of them so far. That's like 4 or 5 impossible jumps this race.
A lot of death, a lot of terrible RNG.
Yeah, so far not so good for these guys. Mike got his solid start, but now things are starting to fall apart. That was a bit of poetry from Hectic. If you'd like to hear more, Amy.
Rudd going for the vampire.
Yeah, we heard Rudd's he was very vocal about the frequent, like, avoidance of the cape. I guess I shouldn't say avoidance, but choosing not to grab the cape. He frequently said he didn't agree with the decision, and, you know, I gotta agree with him. Grabbing the cape is super good for these races, and we're gonna see Rudd show that off, hopefully, or just embarrass himself and make the cape look terrible.
Super useful to have, not only in the ice caves where it's the most useful, but in the jungle where you have to take those blind drops.
Mike, however, holding his own with his massive bomb collection, but dwindling rope pile at this point.
Mike exiting 2-3 while Rudd enters 2-3.
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried about that one rope. Because if the ice cave has anything to say about, you know, what's going to happen to Mike, if he goes to the wrong side and doesn't have enough ropes to reach the other side, that could spell death for him. We'll see. There's definitely a solid chance for Mike to see a crate at some point, and there's always the 50-50 chance of getting the ropes. Of course, it's more like 47%, or whatever it was. I think it was like 37% chance that you get
And there
ropes or
goes the
bombs.
last rope.
And yeah, that's going to be 0 ropes. I don't know. I feel like jumping to the edge of that spike pit is a risky move, but, you know, it saves you your last rope, especially when you're moving on to the ice case. But at this point, we do know that Mike is in the lead, and Rudd making an embarrassment of himself and dying on the spikes, regardless of all the things he said. That's unfortunate. So at this point, Mike has the lead on 3-1, buying some bombs, unfortunately not having the ropes that he needs in a situation where things could go terribly wrong. We'll see. So far, so good for Mike.
The ice caves could prove a problem, and Olmec could prove a problem if he tries to do fast strats.
That's true. That's true. Ropeless would have to happen. That was very close to a Yeti toss there for Mike. We'll see if Mike attacks the Yeti King, because the Yeti King will drop 3 ropes. That'd be a more interesting way of getting some ropes back here. But it looks like the Yeti King is above him, and I doubt Mike's going to go back up for that. In fact, he can't. He doesn't have ropes.
And the homing arrow hits Ruddigger in the head.
Ouch. Yeah, when they added homing arrows, this game got a whole lot more difficult. Pretty rude stuff.
I believe every arrow is a homing arrow.
Oh,
if
gotcha.
I remember correctly.
We'll see how Rudd handles this 1 HP situation. He's choosing not to reset, and at this point, that's a pretty good idea. We have 5 minutes-ish on the clock.
Time is getting scant.
That is enough time for Rudd to make it to Olmec. Possibly not to... Oh, he's at the jungle right now. Yeah, 5 minutes is enough for him to make it and beat Olmec from the jungle. We'll see how his run goes, though. So as far as Mike's situation in the ice caves is, he made it all the way to 3-4 without needing that rope, which, good for his sake, although awkward situation here. Gonna have to deal with the logistics of the rock, the landmine, and that mammoth all at once. That landmine will destroy the altar.
There was a
which
lot
Mike
going
was
on
not
there.
aware of, and he falls into the abyss after being, I think, hit by a rock. It might have been
3-4
something
is
else.
the lead.
So,
we can
yeah.
officially say that now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mike did not realize that that landmine was going to trigger the altar. I pointed it out a little bit before Mike decided to trigger it, but yeah, you got to be aware of your surroundings when you're blowing up a landmine. Some bad things could happen. He was focused on the rock. There was a rock in the way, and it would damage him if he hadn't moved it, which he did do. But unfortunately, because he was focusing on the rock, he didn't realize that the altar was nearby, so that's going to cost him his run right there. He's back to the mines, and with only 4 minutes left, he has a hard time reaching... He'll have a hard time beating the game, nearly impossible. However, he can reach the temple, assuming Rudd can't. So Mike has the lead, 3-1. Gonna take an arrow trap to the face at the end there, I don't know. I don't know if he was going for an arrow whip or just didn't notice it. I hope it was the latter, because going for an arrow whip in that situation is a little bit risky.
It's tough to see those that are at the very bottom of the exit, especially if you're just falling straight down.
Yeah, that's true. Rudd
Rushing
with,
water, yes, that's not treating Rudd well at all.
Rudding water, man. On to 2-4, there he goes. Alright, so Rudd has a solid chance of taking the lead back here as long as he plays consistently through this last jungle level and the rest of the ice caves. He definitely could take the win here. We'll see what happens.
He's been pushing that 1 health for, a full 4 or 5 stages now.
Yeah, that's true. I completely forgot about that. He's had 1 health for a long time. I mean, if his play currently has anything to say about what will happen, he should be in good standings. But it's definitely worthwhile to grab some health. Spelunky pro tip, don't stay at 1 health intentionally. Unless, of course, you're making some silly joke about optimalization, but, you know, it's up to you.
I'm sure he's hoping that a damsel will show his or her face, or its face, on a route. There we go.
And just as you say that, Shin, you need to talk about things racers want more often. I think they'll thank you for it.
I don't think you want me to do that, considering who you want to win.
Okay, a little bit awkward here for Rudd. He needs to push. That UFO is going to do some mean things to him. Wow, that was gutsy.
Wow. He used his last rope. The ropeless situation is falling over to Rudd now.
That was scary. Rudd ended up jumping on a Yeti, like nearly jumping straight into a Yeti over there. If he had done so, he would have ended up dying on 3-2, 4 levels ahead of Mike, where Mike is currently traversing 2-2.
Rudd is making it into 3-3, one more stage, and he is tied.
Right. He is at 2 health, which is going to do him some good stuff. Although on wet fur levels, maybe not. Maybe not.
Mike trading off vampire kills for a cave.
Yeah, that's a good choice. He's down to 0. The ropes don't exist this run. Jeez, neither of our racers have ropes. Okay, I stand corrected. Rudd now has ropes after a Yeti King died. All by itself, of course, with a blocked off layout, because this level is great. This whole level feeling is... Oh, never mind. I stand corrected. This game taught me a thing or two, but Rudd doesn't realize it, I guess. Unless he wants to go around safely. He didn't realize it. So at this point, the game is tied up with both racers having reached 3-4. Mike has a small chance to have an impact here. If he rushes through the ice caves fast enough, he will, but it's mostly in Rudd's hands. Although,
both players with 2 health now, so anything pretty much could end either of their runs right now.
So Mike gets Rudded, but handles it fairly quickly. However, Rudd is on a fairly slow ice caves level. I'm wondering if Mike is going to catch up to Rudd in a second here. Of course, Mike getting 2... No. Yes, that's 2 wet fur levels in a row.
It is. Is that getting double Rudded?
That I don't know. I don't know what to call that. That's called crap and sad stuff. Rudd, rather... With a dark 4-1. Okay.
Violently slamming that mine on the ground, and it actually opened up a path for him.
This is really interesting. Mike has a chance to actually catch up to Rudd here on the level that he's at. Mike is on to 3-4. If we have an overtime here, there's 37 seconds. There's 30 seconds. There's 35.
Wow.
This is amazing. Mike might tie this up. Rudd is currently on 4-1. If Mike makes it to 4-1 and Rudd doesn't progress fast enough, this is overtime. But Rudd is right at the exit of 4-1, moving on to 4-2. Mike has 20 seconds to complete 4-1, and Rudd has 20 seconds to complete 4-2 in an effort to stop Mike. And Mike has a perfect Prayers to Kali level. Whips an arrow. 11 seconds on the clock.
This is insane.
Mike makes it to 4-2. Rudd is on 4-2 right now. 5, 4,
tiki trap.
3, 2, 1. I don't believe... What?
That is definitely overtime.
That is overtime in one of the closest experiences of overtime we've ever seen. Fishy actually pushed in overtime at the last few seconds previously in races, but this is the first time we've seen it where overtime was triggered with both of the racers currently on their farthest level being at the same spot. That is amazing.
I did not expect to see that in these races, that's for sure.
That's amazing. So we have overtime at this point. I'm going to quickly explain overtime to, I'm going to ask them if they know what it is.
Just explain it.
But I'm going to explain it to the viewers. Overtime is a different type of playstyle for the races when the racers both reach the farthest level, the same farthest level when the time runs out. So they both were on 4-2 when the time ran out, as that was their farthest level. So we're going to go into overtime. Overtime means that both racers, instead of having a time limit to get as far as possible or beat Olmec, will instead have only one run to do it. So their first seed is also their last. What's so interesting about overtime and why most of our racers and commentators like it so much is that it actually sets up a whole new play style for people. Instead of playing quickly and aggressively to get ahead, also what Mike is doing is crazy, you instead would rather play safely to stay alive for longer or get to a farther level. So we'll see what ends up happening. Basically the same as regular play style, but instead of having 15 minutes to complete a run, you will get you'll get one run, and you need to get as far as you possibly can. We very frequently see runs get paralleled and paces become nearly the same. We've had a ton of overtimes reach Olmec at the same exact time. So, alright, I think both of our racers know how overtime works, so I'm just going to confirm with Mike.
They will have to go very slowly, but not too slow, because they want to keep a better pace than their opponent.
Alright, so we're going to get started in 40 seconds here. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I didn't think it was good. When I saw Rudd was about to complete the level, I was like, okay, well, I mean, Rudd pushed it. Rudd got it. Good job to Rudd. But then Mike got the perfect Prayers to Kali and just, That's amazing. That's definitely highlight material, I'll tell you.
Most certainly.
Some of the craziest things is not just the overtime races themselves, but how the overtime races get triggered. They happen so much more often than you'd think, and like, they're so close. Like that, we've never seen racers be on the same level at the same time when overtime is triggered. That's never happened before, and Fishy recently had an even closer call with only 3 seconds on the clock when Fishy pushed overtime. Awesome
Here we
stuff.
go.
Awesome stuff.
Yes, let's see how the seeds treat them on this overtime match.
Mike said, "What's overtime?" I hope he does know. Oh, I didn't mean to set up the timer. That was a mistake.
Both players on to 1-2. Bomb bag bought by Mike.
Yeah, I hope Mike does actually know what overtime is. It looks like it because his play has been slowed down quite a bit, so freaking Mike is messing with us. No, wait, Mike has done overtime before. Never mind, what am I even saying? These two have both been in overtime before, I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
You have been bamboozled.
I have been fooled. I am red in the face.
Rud in the face.
Rud in the face? Are you proud of yourself? Because let me tell you, I am beyond proud of you right now.
I'm always proud of myself.
Optimus Shin over here, man. Okay, so Mike being treated with crates, one of them being a compass, that could be major during the ice caves and just general levels. Wow, alright, so that's going to be a huge benefit to Mike. Mike is the compass guy. During one of his Olmec fights, he actually got 2 compasses in the top area. Also, no bombs, for the record. So, we'll see. It looks like Rud's strategy is to play a little bit faster than Mike is. Mike's strategy is to buffer on my end. Hopefully that, yeah, wasn't a big deal. Mike also
Seeing
getting
a little
paced.
bit of that.
Mike's getting a little bit of paste here, so we'll see what happens.
I'm showing Rud having a level and a half, well, about a level lead.
That's right, freaking Mike not only had overtime, but was in the one double overtime we've had during these races.
Great memory.
I'm just a fool at this point. Anyway, Rud pretty far ahead of Mike, an entire level ahead and a little bit extra. We'll see. See how he takes advantage of that.
Not only does he have that, but he has 6 health to boot. He will be able to take a tiki trap to the face or other random areas of the body.
Yeah, Mike has starting health, which could be an issue. Like the tiki traps you mentioned do 4 damage, and a boomerang guy that suspends you in the air with his boomerang could lead to death.
Speaking of boomerangs, there's a lovely tiki village here for Mike to take on.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not only possible death, but it's a major slowdown as well. Mike definitely having an advantage here as far as bombs goes.
Wisely avoiding most of it.
Under the circumstance that Mike is far behind Rud on Olmec, there's a solid chance that he could instead employ fast strats to try and get ahead of Rud. We'll see what happens, though. I believe Rud is a firm believer that despite the situation, he should always do safe strats, so maybe that won't be the situation. We'll find out.
Well, Rud has surprised you before with his cape usage, so we'll see what happens.
Right, so Rud is 2 levels ahead of Mike at this point. I think Mike is maybe lollygagging a bit too much for his own good. Of course, if Rud does end up dying by using this fast play, then Mike has a solid chance of taking the victory. It's really interesting over time. The play styles just work and just make this so much more exciting. Despite it being a slowdown, you don't know what's going to happen.
It's a combination of the play styles and, well, whatever the RNG gods give you.
Yep. So we're going to add to the pip counter there. Wow, this is getting into, like, I think, we aren't actually counting for the record. Those of you who are new to Star League, towards the beginning of the tournament events, Hibanachi decided during commentary that we should count how many times there are nearly impossible jumps for racers, and which usually consists of 3-tile high tiki traps or 2 tiles nearby water, which are both pretty much impossible to get over without a rope.
Mammoth trolling the exit there for a little while for Rud.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but we haven't been directly counting, but at this point we're nearing the high 30s, low 40s, and it's pretty crazy.
And now Mike's onto the ice caves.
Rud is having a little bit of a situation going down in the... Oh! Rud is dead on 3-3.
That was quite unfortunate.
So Rudd's level is 3-3. If Mike can get past that without dying, he will take the win. And that means he'll take the round as well. Ouch! Oh! My heart! My heart! Mike takes a Yeti swing and lives. Holy crap. That would have been crazy. Rudd dying and then Mike dying before... Oh my gosh.
If Mike exits this level, I believe this round and the races are going to be over.
It could go into double overtime if Mike dies on the next level.
This is true.
So don't get your hopes up quite yet, because Mike has done double overtime before. He might do it again. Ooh, this is scary stuff. I kind of want to see double overtime, but you know, at the same time, I don't think it's gonna happen unless Mike makes some drastic mistake here, which you know, it's totally possible. Slip-ups happen. Mike got thrown by a Yeti on 3-1. Maybe it'll happen again, but I think this might be going to Rudd. I mean, not Rudd, Mike. Rudd is dead. It's literally, at this point, Mike has definitely secured at least the ability to win. Alright, the exit is right there.
And that is it.
And that's it! Mike is going to make it to 3-4, therefore having a farther level than Rudd and taking the race by default. So congratulations to Mike for winning. He's going to be moving on in the elimination brackets. Apologies to Rudd for being eliminated. A great performance by both racers, exciting overtime, and crazy stuff on how they pushed it. So at this point, that's going to be the end of this race. 2 out of 3 format means that Mike has won with his 2 victory diamonds.